Stating that I am Christine Deschler, Chair of the Finance Committee, and I'm calling the January 26, 2026 meeting in the Finance Committee to order. This meeting is being conducted remotely via Zoom, consistent with the provisions of state law, promoting remote participation in public meetings. I will now call attendance to confirm that we have a quorum and to confirm that all present in person and via Zoom can hear me. So when I call your name, say yes or present or something to acknowledge that you are here. Starting with Paul Bear.
And don't forget to unmute yourself when you say it. I'm here.
Jordan.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Sophie.
Here.
Grant.
Here.
Carolyn. Is not. Rebecca.
Here.
Josh. Is not. Michael, you are here, right?
Here.
Charlie.
Here.
Chuck.
Here.
Daryl.
Here.
Annie.
Here.
Alan Jones.
Here.
Topher.
Here.
Peggy.
Here.
Al Tosti.
Here.
John Griffin.
Here.
I'm here. Dean Carmen.
Here.
David McKenna.
Here.
And I just saw that Josh Lobel joined us.
Yep,
John?
I'm here.
All right. So we have a quorum. A few more things. This meeting is being conducted over Zoom and is being recorded. For those attending remotely, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Ensuring public access to remote meetings does not require public comment or participation. This meeting will not feature public comment. Those wishing to provide comments may do so by emailing our Executive Secretary, Micaiah Healy, at mhealy@town.arlington.ma.us. Lastly, as required by law, every vote that we take in this meeting will have to be done by roll call. All right, with that out of the way, let's get down to business. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you all. I had hoped that we would have, well, my hope is that we'll have in-person meetings, period, but I certainly wanted the first meeting to be in person because we have a new member joining us, and it would have been nice for him to see our faces in person. But maybe we'll do that on Wednesday night when we get together. Our new member is Scott Mullen, and say hi, Scott, and maybe tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Thank you, Christine. My name is Scott Mullen. Call me Mully if you're comfortable with nicknames. I'm down on 68 Henderson Street. I've been living here since 2010 with my partner who purchased the home in 2007. I will be running for town meeting again. I just completed my first 3-year term. Also spent 5 years on the Zero Waste Committee, resigning at the last meeting just about 10 days ago to be here with you all. So grateful for the support and the guidance I've gotten so far. I expect I'll be leaning a little bit more on you guys. This is my first go around, but not afraid of spreadsheets and just grateful to deepen my service to the town. So thank you.
Good to have you, Scott. And I think you'll find that everyone is willing and able to be of help to you. So if you have a question, just ask anybody. And I know Annie has been working with you a little bit to get you acclimated, which is good. And so welcome. And as I said, I'm hoping we'll be able to see each other in person in the next few days.
Welcome, Scott.
All right, with that, let's just knock off the minutes of June 16th, 2025. get those done. I think those are the only minutes we have yet to approve, correct, Micaiah? All right, I think everyone has had the opportunity to review the minutes. Does anyone have any corrections or revisions or changes that they have noticed need to be changed or done? I am seeing item 4 under committees and commissions. Is this the?
These are not the June minutes.
Yeah.
Discussion of June 4th. This one?
Those don't look like the June 16th minutes.
That would be a problem.
I think you sent them out. I think you sent the correct ones
Yes,
out.
you did send them out, yeah.
What I'm projecting is not correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
it's a-
you're
it's a
projecting is not
different-
You're
changing.
projecting your draft for this meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second. I'm so sorry. That's embarrassing.
Mhm.
That's how efficient she is. In a few more minutes, she can tell us how we're voted. How we voted.
Hmm.
Do you have them or do people need to see them on the screen? Does anyone need to see them? Does anyone want to see them on the screen?
Well,
No.
I'm afraid the ones I received in the email from Micaiah was from February 10th last year.
I'm looking in SharePoint at the documents for this meeting, and that's
Oh,
the correct document.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I got June 16th by mail.
Oh, I got, like Paul, I got February 10th.
Weird. I did. I got the June 16th.
Yeah,
Does this look correct?
this looks correct.
Yep. So why don't you
Okay.
just slowly scroll down so that people can look at these, those who have not seen them.
And to see if we were there to know if we can vote or not. That's
Mhm.
Okay. Yes, definitely. I'll go back to the attendance.
All right, having reviewed them, does anyone have any changes that they would like made?
Looks good to me.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of June 16th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Was this
right.
the meeting where we had people come in to give feedback from town meeting?
No,
No.
this is the transfer meeting. All right, so we have a motion to approve the minutes that have been seconded. So let's vote. Again, we'll have to do a roll call vote. So when I call your name, say yes, no, or abstain. Starting with Paul Bear.
yes,
Jordan.
Yes.
Scott, you will abstain, I imagine.
Abstain?
Sophie,
Abstain.
Grant,
Yes.
Carolyn, not here. Rebecca,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Chuck,
Abstain.
Daryl,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Alan Jones,
Yes.
Topher,
Yes.
Peggy. Peggy,
Sorry, I was muted. I abstained.
okay. Al Tosti,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
All right.
Did I abstain or did I say yes, Josh?
You said yes.
I would like to change that to abstain. Sorry.
I have 14 yes and 5 abstains. Is that your number, Micaiah?
14. Yes. Oh, I didn't realize I'm unmuted. You can hear me counting.
All right. So the minutes have been approved. All right. All right. Next up is a discussion about scheduling. And a bunch of things fall under that that item. First of all, my preference is going to be to meet in person for all of our meetings whenever we can. The only instance where we probably won't do that would be like tonight when there's a big storm or we're recovering from a big storm. But hopefully that will be few and far between, maybe never again this year. So everyone should expect that we will be meeting in person. The next meeting on Wednesday, we're not quite sure whether it's going to be at the police station because there's some parking issues there, or it's going to be in the Lions hearing room at Town Hall, but we will let you know. We'll make a decision soon and let you know. But we will be meeting in person on Wednesday night. If you cannot attend and you ask for an accommodation of being able to listen to our discussion that we're in person, understand that you, by attending via Zoom, do not make up our quorum. And also you can't vote. Otherwise, to do that, it would be a hybrid meeting and we would have to take all of our votes by roll call. And I think we discovered that we go much, much faster when we don't have to do that. So if you cannot attend a meeting, do not expect to be able to vote. Plan on meeting every Monday and Wednesday until we go through town meeting, until town meeting ends. I think everyone is aware that we have an override vote coming up where you have a very interesting budget season we're going to have to deal with, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So I think we're gonna be tied up for we may have to do 2 reports this year. So please try to make yourself available every Monday and Wednesday night. Last couple of years, we've been able to take a break in the February school vacation week. I don't know if we'll be able to do that this year, but if we can be efficient, maybe we can take a break that week. I know some people like to go away and have other plans that week, but we shall see. All right, so other scheduling issues. On Wednesday night, we'll be meeting with the town manager who will give us his presentation of his budget. On March 2nd, I believe it is, Daryl, we're going to be meeting with the capital planning committee. And
That changed to March 11th.
I had not heard that. Can you double check that?
I heard that. I got an email from Chris
more saying that.
When did you get that email?
Late last week?
Yeah, he did email. I'm not sure if you're copied on it, Christine, because they're meeting with the capital planning the day before, and they wanted an extra couple days.
I did not get that
Okay.
email.
Let
Is
me
that a,
forward.
is that a date, Daryl, is that a date certain, March 11th? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm just looking for Chris's email. I'm pretty sure it was certain because he said something like somebody who wasn't going to be here. Here it is. He said it was at our request, at FinCom's request. I'm confusing myself here. They wanted more time to review the presentation than we had in our previous schedule. Since we were all available for that time and we checked at our meeting, I agreed.
The 11th, March 11th.
Yes.
Yeah, the last conversation I had with Chris Moore was a couple of weeks ago, and I offered him a couple of dates, and he was the one who picked March 2nd. So if you could just ask him to send an email to me to confirm that. All right, and then we have Minuteman, Al Tosti Minuteman is on March 4th. You're muted, Al.
Now, usually you're supposed to hit the space bar and it goes off, but yes, March 4th.
All right, those are the dates that we know for certain, I guess. Assuming capital plan was a little funky, but the other date we should keep in mind is on March 28th, Saturday. The override vote is going to take place along with the town election. So we've gotten the town manager's budget. It assumes a successful override. That override is going to be on the 28th. That override may fail on the 28th, which means we have to go back to work on the 29th to come up with another budget to be able to present to town meeting. When you are dealing with your department heads on the budget you have been given by the town manager, it would be wise to have some discussions with your department head about what happens if the override does not pass. What are the areas of pain that they will be experiencing, so that again, we'll have very little time between March 28th and when town meeting starts for us to be able to present town meeting with something. Now, the town manager will have a budget for us if the override fails, but we don't have a whole lot of time, so we really want to start having some discussions with the department heads so that we can pivot pretty quickly. Any questions so far on what we've been covering? Nothing? Everyone?
Christine, I know at long range planning meeting, there was some discussion about sort of sensitivity when talking about to the department heads. I don't know if you wanted to talk about any, guidelines, what to say and maybe what not to say.
Yeah. So, if the override fails, there are going to be drastic cuts. Nobody wants to feel like their head is on the chopping block, and we don't want to put a target on anyone's back in terms of layoffs or anything like that. So, nor does the town manager or the superintendent want to announce who would be let go or not. So when you're talking to your department head before the override vote on the budget we have, and you start having some discussions about the bad budget that we will have if it fails, be sensitive to the desire not to make public specific names or specific positions as much as we can when we're talking about the budgets. Be sensitive to that, and when we're talking about your budget when we're all together at a meeting. Couple of hands. I'll start with Rebecca.
Thank you. Do we anticipate any messaging from the town manager or the select board or the school committee or anyone about a broad framework for what they expect might be cut under the override? Just something that will go to the voters to help inform them of what the town would anticipate with the override or without the override to help people guide their voting?
I believe the school committee has already started that. Just that, and I'm expecting that the town manager will have that type of a list or some identification. I know that during the long range planning committee meetings, Annie particularly was vocal about you got to get out early and often about what the citizen of Arlington will expect or should expect if an override fails, where the areas where things are just gonna have to be cut. So I'm expecting that.
Oh, pardon me, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in particular for the work of this committee, I think it's helpful if we have an understanding of how much of the cuts would go to the school side, which are not our responsibility to micromanage, and how much would go to the town side, and how much are out of our control, like, health insurance or something. So that would be helpful, just to know how much is the town side. Thank you.
Well, in a few minutes, we'll talk about the long range plan itself and the override. So keep these thoughts, Rebecca.
So can I just jump in here? So
wait, Peggy, Al Tosti has his hand up, and then
sorry.
Al Tosti?
Yeah, I'm just going along with that question because, I mean, the cuts the first year are, shall we say, minor compared to the cuts in the second and third year. So it seems to me we should have the manager's recommended reductions, if not right away, at least within the next couple of weeks, would be helpful in a lot of ways. So that's just my suggestion.
And again, he'll be coming in on Wednesday to meet with us. So these are things that we can bring up with him. Charlie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second Al's comment and Rebecca's. I think we should have essentially two budgets and be able to act on the alternative budget very quickly if the override doesn't go forward.
I agree. We'll also keep in mind that we don't, as far as I know, sitting here, we don't even know what that override amount will be. It was, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about this, and I'll invite Annie and Alan Jones and others who attend long-range planning committee meetings to talk. But the long-range plan has changed with every iteration, and the last long-range plan I shared with you involved a $15 million override, but it is unlikely that that's going to be on the ballot. So right now, the town manager, I'm sure, has general ideas, but the specifics still need to be worked out before there's a second budget. Daryl.
Yeah, so when John and I met with police and fire on Friday, both Chief Flaherty and Chief Kelly were very forthcoming with the budget impacts for 27 and 28 if the override doesn't pass. So either they didn't get the memo to keep things closely held, or it does appear that there are pretty specific numbers out there.
I think it's incumbent on us to be sensitive and not be too, especially since no final decisions have been made when we don't even know if an override is going to pass or not, to be sensitive to this information. Peggy.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to let everyone know that Liz Holman, the superintendent of schools, did present at the last budget subcommittee her what the not passing the override would mean for the schools. And it's up, that presentation is available on cable.
Thank you. Annie.
Yeah, just to reiterate Chris's point, you have to remember that when you have a discussion with your department head, it's not publicly available. But when we talk about the budgets on in our meetings, those meetings are recorded and available to the public. So I think that's the place where we need to be circumspect about our language and not get ahead of things that are being publicly said by the town manager yet. And not to give away clues that might cause employees to stress. So
yeah, especially to panic unnecessarily.
Excuse me, Christy, if you could just put me in the queue. I'm on my phone, so I couldn't raise my hand properly.
Sure. Go ahead, John. The floor is
Okay,
yours.
thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on one point you made earlier. You had said that the budgets that we received, I thought you said includes the override or assumes the override passes. Oh, it does not.
No,
Yeah,
does
that's
not.
what I, yep. So yeah, for instance, like there's that $3.7 million deficit in the current year. So yep, so we're on the same page. It assumes that there is no override.
No, the budget we have assumes there's an override that has passed.
That,
And
okay,
whatever
let me
amount
just,
it is,
yeah.
whatever amount it is, that's going to make up the difference for 27.
Maybe we're just saying the same thing differently. So I'm looking at the budget and it has a $3.7 million deficit. So I would describe that by saying it assumes the override has not passed.
No, it assumes the
No.
override has passed. What you're looking at is the long range plan, correct?
Yeah, okay, but the exactly, that is where I get the $3.7 million deficit. That's from the long range plan.
Mhm.
But that also shows 237 million in revenues, which the overall general fund budget summary shows 237 million in revenue. So I maybe, and I actually don't have the complete budget in front of me. I just have pages that I printed out. But are you telling me if I go back and look at the complete budget, there's somewhere that shows a larger amount of revenue than the 237 million?
No, what you have is a budget that assumes that first year, the 27 deficit goes away.
I don't follow that. I mean, again, I might be missing something, but I feel like the deficit is pretty clearly there.
It is. That's why we need an override.
Okay.
I think,
Yep. Go ahead.
I maybe can clarify. I think, John, you're at the long range plan that's in the 27 manager's budget.
Yeah.
Is the long range plan with no override in it. But
Yep.
the rest of the budget was constructed believing, constructed on the assumption the override would pass.
Okay. But and then final point on this, I don't want to confuse everything. I'm also looking at the overall general fund budget summary, and it seems to have the same numbers as the long range financial projection. But maybe it sounds like what you're saying is baked into the actual budget when we flip our pages, baked into that is an override.
Yes,
So,
yes.
okay.
Whatever amount it is, that top is going to be skimmed off to fill the hole for 27.
Got it. Got it.
Peggy?
So I guess I am a little confused because if the departments created a budget assuming that the override was going to pass, but they didn't know the size of the override, it seems like a fairly open-ended budget. If they don't know, if they don't know if it's going to be a $15 million override versus a $10 million override.
Whatever
I don't,
amount it is, it will be enough to cover that 27 gap.
Mhm.
So whether it's a 15 million, 13 million, or 11 million, that money, it will be used for 27 and then whatever's left over.
all right. Okay.
Annie?
Yeah, and maybe I'm getting ahead of you, Chris, but just to clarify the discussions we've been having in long-range planning. The town manager and the superintendent of schools have been trying to work on cutting budgets and re-estimating income safely in a way that will get us to a number that they believe we can pass. And so things are a little bit in flux, but I believe the budget in front of us conforms to the current state of the long-range plan and assumes that we will close the budget gap in this year, next year, and the year after with the funds from the override. Remember that every cut we make this year presumably is sustained over the next 2 years and therefore reduces the next two deficits and and any increase in the cost of those things. So I don't think we have all of the cuts yet for 27 in this draft budget. And that's how we would get to a lower number than the last draft I saw was 14.9. So that's why things are in flux. That's why we haven't declared a number. Great non-state aid, so on and so forth. So.
All right, so in a few minutes, I want to talk about the long-range plan and the override. I just want to talk about how we're going to go about doing our budgets and presenting our budgets in the meetings. And then we'll talk more about the override and the long-range plan. So does anyone have, Alan, you have a hand up, and then go ahead.
Yeah, just addressing John's question, I think the budget document is confusing because the 237 million number is from the no override plan, which is really there to say how much does the override have to be. But with the override, the revenue is 237,654. I'm looking at the latest pieces of paper. So I think it's just confusing the way the manager did it. But it's consistent with the long range, with what's going on in long range planning.
Agreed.
All right. So a couple more things, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the long-range plan, the long-range plan committee meetings, and the override. One of the things that came out of the public forum we had in the springtime about how the finance committee could do things better in terms for town meeting was having an agenda that was more specific in terms of what it is that we're going to be talking about when we meet. When we were meeting, we did point out that it's somewhat difficult to be able to always do that because, as you know, sometimes you think you're going to have your budget ready on Wednesday, and then something comes up, whether we're dealing with something else that carries over and we don't get to it, or your meeting with your department head that afternoon goes sideways and you need more time to figure something out or get more information. So and we might discuss your budget on Monday, but we don't vote on it or complete the discussion until Wednesday. Having said all that, I do think that there is utility in trying to be more specific about what budgets we're covering at every meeting. So what I'm going to try to do, if I remember, and hopefully Micaiah will remind me, is that at the end of every meeting, or at some point in every meeting, I'm going to ask who will have a budget ready when, and we're going to put that on the agenda. I know that some budgets take longer, and we can't do them until later in the season than others. And I also will be tolerant of, sorry, Chris, we don't have it today. Thought we would, but we won't. I'm fine with that. We'll just bump it to the next meeting. This is a way, it's a wayfinding way for town meeting members to see what was the discussion, when was the discussion on the fire department's budget. I want to be able to go to that recording and listen to the discussion, which is very reasonable. So to the extent that you can let me know when you might have budgets ready, I've always asked that, but it takes on a little bit more desire to have that known ahead of time, just so that we can try to accommodate what town meeting members told us in the public forum that they would like to see. I think what we have going for us in the finance committee is we have excellent notes, excellent minutes, and that's Micaiah, 100% Micaiah. And I think that, and I have talked to other people in town, and they have said, oh yeah, the finance committee's minutes are what we want other people to aspire to. So again, that's Micaiah. But still, people want to see and hear our actual discussion. So keep that in mind, and try to think of when you might be able to get on a schedule, and let me know when your budgets are going to be ready, and try to stick with that. Any questions about that? I know that a few years ago, Charlie tried to do this, and he was, I think you were successful to some extent, Charlie. And it was, but it did get difficult towards the end, I think, with the bigger budgets. But I think you really made the effort, and I'm going to try to do likewise and see how we can improve. Maybe not, that won't be much in terms of a change, maybe, but let's see. The other thing about our meetings is, if you have materials that you want the rest of us to see when you talk about your budgets with us, you must get them to Micaiah with plenty of time for her to get them out to us. It is not reasonable to send these to her at Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock, for her to turn it around and send them to us. So I want to have these target dates, times of, what was it, Micaiah, that we agreed would be best for you in terms of getting things in a time that you think you're able to reasonably get them out to us. It was Thursday. What was it?
Thursday by 1, if you would like to present on Monday, and Tuesday by 1, if you would like to present by Wednesday.
Now, that doesn't mean
Monday. I'm sorry, Monday by 1. It's a 48-hour window.
so Thursday and Monday. And all that means is once that time has passed, then it's on you to send it to us directly or to put it up in SharePoint and send us an email saying you can find it in SharePoint. Micaiah is doing a lot of other stuff right before our meetings, so it's really it's burdensome for us to dump things on her at the last minute. Charlie?
Thank you, Christine. Does this mean that if we, it sort of rings a little bit like town meeting where we have to have any amendments in 48 hours ahead of time? Is this indicate that if we have any alternative information to provide the FinCom, it also has to be 48 hours ahead when we haven't seen the other information in the first place?
No, it's just that it's on you to be able to get it to people. So
Okay.
if you're meeting with your department head and you have a package, some material, something, a memo, something you want to talk about when you talk about your budget, then Micaiah is very willing to get that out for you until that hour. And then she cannot promise that she's going to be able to do it. And at that point, you just send it out to us. You just send an email to all of us, copy Micaiah so that she makes sure it gets into the notes and the minutes, and then we're fine. And I think we do this a lot. I mean, I think naturally we've been doing it where someone says, here's an additional memo from the IT director, something like that. And also, if we're meeting in person, I'm fine with you handing something out that evening if you're talking about it. It's not meant to be so restrictive as town meeting where we make motions and the wording has to be reviewed and on and on. Where I don't think we need that. So it's fine if you just show up with a paper copy for everyone. And like always, if someone says, I think we need more time to look at this, then that just we bump it to the next night. So
Thank you.
It's not meant to be very stressful or restrictive. It's just telling you that Micaiah is glad to do all of this stuff, except for this little window of time where she's trying to prepare for other things for our meeting that night. That's all. Anyone have any other questions about that or anything else to do with scheduling? All right, let's talk about the long range plan and the override. So I'll start by saying the long range planning committee had been meeting on and off since June, I think it was. More frequently, more recently, with every meeting, the long range plan has changed, I think, significantly. I feel like it started to change more significantly, I think maybe around November, December, where the school with some pressure in terms of reducing expenses, the school department came back to the long range planning committee. Two things. One, they're willing to no longer have the special education budget separate with its own growth rate. It's now going to be back to one general education budget. And they've also came back with a growth rate of I think it was 4.25%.
Yep.
So that is where we were at the last long-range planning committee meeting. That and other things brought the deficits down a bit, and Jim Feeney presented the long-range planning committee with a $15 million override amount. That amount, though, A, it's huge. And B, that still leaves a deficit in year 3. And I said at the long range plan committee when we last met that I did not think that an override like that with that high a number with still a deficit in year 3 would get a whole lot of support by the finance committee. And I personally could not support that. And so I said that we needed to see more cuts made in expenses. And which I added, I felt like there's a lot of aggressive budgeting, forecasting with revenues, but I thought we really needed to attack expenses, costs more. So that's where we are. My understanding, and I don't know if anyone has other information, but my understanding is the schools came back with a lower of 4% growth rate. I don't know, Peggy, Josh, is that accurate? 4%? Do you know? Dean, do you know?
I think that they did discuss that. I mean, obviously they're feeling very stressed about how they're going to manage any kind of a cut. So I thought they were going to negotiate something like maybe 4% for the first year, but then maybe put an enrollment escalator or adjustment in for later years or something like that.
The next long range plan is this Friday, I believe. Annie, Alan Jones, Topher, John, you attended some meetings. If you want to add anything to what the situation is.
Well, I would only say that the manager's budget message in the manager's budget, I think, covers pretty much all the important things that he's thought about. All the the things that you discussed, and a few other things about waste management and insurance and things like that. So it's if you haven't read it, you should read it.
Annie?
I just want to add that that deficit in year 3, my understanding is that has to go away. So in order to even get to a $14.9 million override, which is what the number was on the last draft of the plan, we still have a bunch of things we have to cut just to get to that. And then I don't believe there was agreement on the select board about that number. And they're the people who set the number. So I am expecting more cuts. And I don't know how they're going to be distributed. There's usually a formula between town and schools based on percentage of budget. But nobody has mentioned that. So I don't know if they're sticking to that theory. So I don't think we're done cutting. I don't think the budgets in front of us are where we're actually going to end up. So even with an override, I guess is what I'm saying.
It's this, as Annie alludes to, it's the select board that decides the number. And the select board is meeting to make that decision February 9th.
Yes, February 9th.
Yes.
And just to, so they will set the number. We'll see a new long range plan. And at that point, the finance committee will need to discuss whether to support that override vote or not. And obviously, when that time comes, we'll have a very robust discussion. But we simply just don't know what the number is, which is unfortunate because, as I said, the select board have decided this override is gonna be on the ballot on March 28th.
Yep.
So that is just a blink of an eye.
Mhm.
Chuck,
Hi, thank you. I'm trying to reconcile the school budget increase between what people said and what's in the long range plan. The long range plan says it's 5% year to year. But I'm hearing people say it's 4.5, trying to get it to 4. Do we know what
4.25.
the amount is?
the amount in this budget is
Four.
Four and a
is
quarter.
4.25.
4.25.
4.25. Then why does the long range plan say 5?
It shouldn't.
It's an old version. It's obsolete already.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting a new plan every 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
So,
And there's a plan in between those 2 weeks.
yep.
Charlie,
Thank you, Christine. So I'd like to ask a couple of general questions. Are there any records that of the long range planning committee minutes? Are there minutes? Are there votes? I mean, we are talking about the long range planning committee taking actions and presenting us with a quote unquote long range plan that we have to act on. But you remarked earlier how outstanding and clear Micaiah's minutes are with respect to informing voters, where I don't think the finance committee is informed really about what's happening at the long range planning committee. And I don't think the long range planning committee knows what happens from one day to the next, because there are no minutes, there are no votes, the records are, it's a process that has lost any strategic meaning to the town, as far as I'm concerned. I don't quite understand what's going on there. And secondly, I think we ought to have a clear understanding of what role the finance committee is going to take in this process. Are we sitting waiting for the quote unquote long range planning committee to issue an edict, or are we going to try to influence the outcome of the budgeting process? And I think there are in the latest plan that I saw, I haven't really analyzed the managers yet, but it seemed to me that there was some more aggressive budgeting than we had undertaken in the past. Practices with the overlay reserve and so forth that were traditionally treated on a more conservative basis, and they seem to be things seem to be a little bit more relaxed in order to make the numbers look a little bit better. And I notice these in the manager's report, it says that yes, the school department has moved to a single budget, not a separate academic and sped budget, but they've also abandoned the growth factor, the student growth factor. Now, I think everybody knows that the student population is going to be going down. It's flattening now, and it's going to turn down. So the growth factor was fine to have when the numbers were going up, but the agreement was that the budget would be reduced when the numbers went down, and that troubles me quite a bit. And similarly on the SPED, the reports that the school department has made to the DESE for the last, I don't know, I'll say 8 years or something like that, have been substantially lower than the 7% growth that they've been putting into the plan. So throwing the SPED into a higher unified budget now is again ducking the issue of what the actual costs are. So I think there's a lot of room here for the finance committee to exercise some quantitative judgments over the planning process. And I'm just wondering how if you agree with that, and how do you see that happening? I'm sorry for all those questions in one mouthful, but sometimes that happens. Thank you.
Well, I'll comment on some of this. Regarding the long range plan committee minutes, there are no votes taken. For good or bad, there are no votes taken. It's really just projections. The town manager is presenting the most recent projections that he has. What's going up, what's going down, what looks bad, what the deficit in future years is going to be. There's really nothing to vote on. It's to hear and to express concern, like, the sped budget at 6.5% is so soon gonna dwarf the town's budget, the town size budget. And I want to address things in the series that in the order that you raised them. But I agree that we can try to influence the budget process either in the long range plan committee, and we have made statements and urged certain things in these meetings. And we can also influence things when we are looking at the department budgets and making the recommendation to town meeting, which is what we do. And that, yes, we have been, I agree that we are being less conservative with our revenues, like the overlay and things like that. I think the town, and I expressed this at the last meeting, I feel like the town manager has squeezed every penny out of an aggressive revenue forecast approach, and still we have a big deficit, and that's why I said we're not going to solve this anymore by revenue. It's all about cutting at this point. And hopefully that will impact the next long range plan we have. I don't know if Annie or Alan or anyone else who attended these long range plans wanted to jump in and respond to some of these issues that Charlie raised. Annie?
I just want to say that, I want to say two things. One is that some of the cuts that the school committee is projecting this year, there's a pretty detailed report available on the agenda of the meeting where all of this was presented if you don't want to sit through the tape. Some of those cuts are precipitated by that reduced rate. I don't think that that they just took the sped budget and the school budget and combined it and said, what percentage should that be? They actually made a cut below that, whatever percentage would have worked out if they'd done that math. And thus they have, I don't know, a couple $1 million over the 3 years in cuts before we even talk about how we're going to close a deeper gap. And I don't think anybody talked about giving up on the growth rate on the way down. What they are saying is that given that enrollment is flat, we do not need to budget a growth rate over these 3 years. But I don't know, as anybody has suggested, there's a change in policy on that. So my assumption would be that we will, the budgets will reduce as student population reduces at the rate already set by policy. Chris, if you heard something different, maybe you want to mention that.
I haven't heard anything differently. Josh, do you want to join in on that or on anything?
What is the gap in year 3 that they want to, like, how many millions of dollars would they need to cut to close it?
Like $4.5 million.
4.5.
And I know that
that's 4.5 if the override passes.
Right.
The way it's projected.
Right.
Yeah,
And
which means we have to make more cuts to get it to balance before we even declare the number that was provided in the last projection, which we don't think is going to be the top line number because we don't think the entire select board will vote for that top line number. So there's at least $4 million to cut, and there may be more in total out of the budget. over, like it's complicated because a cut in year one amplifies in year three. And so there are cuts to be made to year one to get that 4.5 million to go away, probably plus some. And I expect that's what we'll be talking about on Friday morning.
Mm-hmm. And I know we have our standard 5% for the capital budget. Is that potentially on the table at all, or that's going to be held solid?
Well, it goes down as the budget goes down.
No, I know it goes down, but
I don't know if it's on the table. Chris Moore comes to the long range planning meetings.
Yeah, I don't think any cuts in that have been discussed.
mm-hmm. I mean, I think what we're saying is that we're in the difficult position that we're going to ask the voters for an override, and at the same time, we're probably going to reduce the services that they're currently getting.
Yep.
In order to make that work. So
that's
exactly awkward. And so, that you have to decide what is it that you can do without. Do we make the classes bigger? Do we have fewer police officers? Do we have less frequent garbage pickup? Do we not build exactly what we were hoping to build? That, so.
Yeah, you're right, Josh. It's not going to be a pleasing offer to the voters.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be. Will you vote to raise your tax and cut services? It's but there really isn't. Even with a $15 million override, which is huge, we would still cut services. That's the predicament we're in. Rebecca?
Thank you. Just going back to the point Charlie raised and then Annie mentioned about the enrollment factor for the schools, I think it would be really helpful to have more clarification from the town manager, because as I read the introduction to the budget written by the town manager, I interpret it the same way Charlie seems to be interpreting it, which is that they've eliminated the concept of the enrollment of the growth factor. So I think we do need to understand from them, it's not just that it's not a factor because the enrollment we expect to be flat, but that they seem to be saying that they don't like the volatility associated with the enrollment growth or the growth factor. And so they've abandoned the idea. So I agree with Charlie that we need some clarity on whether that means if there's an enrollment drop, do we see a budget decrease automatically or not? I think clarification on that would be helpful. Thank you.
Well, again, we're meeting with the town manager on Wednesday, and these are questions that we can be asking him on Wednesday. Chuck?
Hi, I was just going to say it may not just be a matter of cutting services, but we can provide services in a different way with either technology or organizational models that allow us to be more efficient and get rid of some duplication. So we should keep that in mind as well. We may be able to maintain a service, but just deliver it in a different way.
Dean?
So, excuse me. I think one thing that would be helpful when we're talking about service cuts or services in general is to understand where we are in a longer, like the longer term history of our commitment to the voters, right? So we had an override several years ago. It was very detailed on where the money was going to go. And it sort of said, well, if you raise taxes by this, you will get this. Okay. I think it would be interesting or important for the voters to understand where we are in that. Right? Because implicit, what's interesting is implicit in service cuts, or what part of what we're implying is that we're reducing, you sort of imply that we're reducing the base of services from the last override. but I don't know if that's true. Right? In other words, like if you said, hey, if you pass this override, it will hire 10 positions. And then we hired 13 positions. And then you reduce 3. You may be reducing services while also meeting a commitment to the voters from 3 years earlier. Both can be true at the same time. And I think it's important to actually document where we are in a lot of these areas. That would be my 2 cents.
Point. Al Tosti?
Will we, excuse me, will we be getting a copy of the newest 5-year plan before Wednesday so we could review it?
I'm hoping we will. And when we get it, Micaiah will be sending it out along with anything else that the town manager will be presenting. Anything else about the override, the long-range plan? What people need to know about to do their budgets? I'll just go back to budgets again. Just a reminder that you not only have to know your own budget, but before the presentation of other budgets, it's on you to look at those budgets and get your questions to the working group. So if Paul and Jordan and Scott are going to go off and talk to the DPW director, it's on you to make sure that you get your questions to them so that they can get that information before they come back to the whole committee. And the point being, we don't want to be sitting there and listening to Jordan and Paul and Scott talking about the DPW budget, and then suddenly you have an idea, like, oh, I thought, and then we have to stop until they go back and get that information and bring it back. So, so not just know your own budget in and out, inside and out, but also at least spend a little bit of time looking at other budgets as they're coming up, so that we can be efficient in making sure that we have all of the information that everyone needs before we take a vote on a departmental budget. Al Tosti?
Yeah, just to let everybody know, I'm not sure how many positions are left, but one question I'll have for everybody is, are there any more ARFA positions still in the budgets? Just, I don't think there's a few, but that'll be a question I'll ask.
They're in the town manager's report.
Yeah, there's one left that'll only be for the half of the year. They all go away at the end of calendar 26.
Okay.
All right. So let's do some budgets. First, I want to talk about committees and commissions so that we can have a sense of who do we want to come talk to us about their budget. Is there any budget we can approve tonight? Or is there any budget we are definitely not going to approve, period? So I just want to quickly run down the list of committees, commissions, and events and celebrations. I supplied you, Micaiah supplied you with what we got from Julie Wayman and from Ida in terms of what their budgets are, their reserves, how far along they are in spending their budgets, whether they've spent any money in their budget from last year. So I just want to go down that list with the idea of agreeing on who we want to come before us so that we can make a decision on committees and commissions. So with that,
Question, Christine?
yeah.
In the town manager's report, he indicated that he wanted to cut some money from all the committees, commissions, whatever. Have the committees been told that that's going to happen?
Yes, they have.
Okay, thank you.
They have been told. Alan Jones?
That's really what I wanted to comment, that everybody, that all the committees have been cut 10%, and they have been informed.
Including us, by the way. So.
Wait, a minute, that can't happen.
So the budgets proposed for are what's in the manager's proposed budget, which reflects a 10% cut from last year's budget. It's up to us to decide what that number should be, whether that's that number or some other number. And so with that, let's just run down the list and determine how we're feeling about certain budgets. And I'm starting on page 199 of the manager's proposed budget, which lists the committees and commissions. Sophie?
Christine? Yeah, thank you. I'm just wondering, can we get information, maybe not have them come, but more details on what these budgets are? Because when we're talking about cutting, I mean, some of these I've never heard about because they were here when I started on the committee and we just keep approving it year to year. I think it would be worthwhile to say, what are you spending it on? And look, because maybe they can cut 20% or whatnot and actually look. But so if there's a way to at least ask for a budget from them, if not, have them come in.
Are you asking that across the board or just certain committees?
I would like it across the board, but I don't know if I have support for that.
Alan Jones?
We had talked sometime in the past about basically creating a form or a template or something that we could hand out to committee chairs, not too complicated, but just something, what's your mission? What do you do? And then talk about reserve funds and things like that. So, some sort of standardized questionnaire, they could get information ahead of time. I don't know if we haven't really done that, but maybe it's something we'd want to consider.
Well, the deputy manager for finance essentially does that. Does talk about the mission or anything like that, but what's your budget? What's your reserve? And that's information that she's provided to us. So we have some of that information. We can some of the things we know, we could figure out or see from what we have now is who's been spending money, who hasn't been spending money, who has sitting on money, a reserve, and who isn't, which I think provides some information in terms of what we want to do. Sophie, do you have anything more?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to bring up, I think there was some discussion last year, or maybe, I don't remember how it was discussed, but the idea of combining all committees with an umbrella committee, sort of like the arts or something like that, so there aren't so many little budgets and that we can let a larger organization sort of manage the smaller handouts. Is that still on the table or not?
I don't recall that discussion. Did we have that discussion?
Yes. That was me.
And so what's your, so I'm like just looking at the first couple listed on page 199. We've got TAC, we have Scenic Byway, Envision Arlington, Zero Waste, Tourism. What type of umbrella organization would they be under and who would oversee them?
I brought up the different arts organizations. There's like 3 or 4 in town that kind of overlap. And there would be a way to coordinate those organizations better.
They're under the arts.
Mission and Arts and Culture.
Yeah.
They're not well coordinated from firsthand experience, I can tell you. So,
Well, the only the only money the town spends on the arts is the money that goes to the ACAC.
I was,
So
I was making a point about the general arts organizations.
which one of these do you see as arts organizations?
Arlington Commission on Arts and Cultures, one.
Yeah.
You got Art Links, then you got ACA, then you got Carter Gallery.
We don't budget anything for any of those guys. We only give money to the Arlington Commission on Arts and Culture.
Yes, the point I made in the meeting was coordination of those. It wasn't a financial question.
Right. We don't have any power over those organizations. They're not part of the town government. The only thing that is part of the town government is the Arlington Commission on Arts and Culture. The rest of those organizations are independent nonprofits.
I mean, I was making a different point, Annie, but I just want to see. I agree with Sophie that understanding. I think it's good to understand what these budgets are and what they have in reserve, but also what they're spending the money on. I just want to reinforce Sophie's comment.
Annie?
Oh God, I had a thought and now I've been distracted from it. I know what it was. The document that Julie prepared where she actually got information from them about their reserves and what they're spending their money on, like what their planned budget is that in SharePoint somewhere?
I believe it is. Makai is in SharePoint.
It was in the email packet.
Yeah, can you see what I'm projecting?
Yeah, I see what you're projecting. I guess I didn't look at the email packet. I was looking in SharePoint. So this is in SharePoint somewhere.
Yeah, it's called FY27 committee request.
Okay.
Let's see, it's under.
Is it
I'll go
under
back.
this meeting? If it's
yeah,
in this meeting, then I'll find it.
It is. Yeah, it's here.
Okay. Just didn't looked there quick and didn't see. All right. Thank you.
And there were two committees that were looking for more money. One was the Conservation Commission, and the other was the tourism, I think, wasn't it? No. ATED. Tourism and Economic Development. A little bit more. All right, so other hands are up. Charlie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Sophie's idea is very good. I think we need more information, or as much as we can get for what the various committees have as a mission and what they're spending their money on. But having an umbrella organization over some of these committees would be almost impossible because they've been created by different acts of town meeting and given different charters and different responsibilities. And it's not our job to usurp that authority. That's something that only town meeting can do. So I don't think that idea can really move forward. Thank you.
Grant?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I guess the thing I want to keep, I need to keep in perspective myself as we discuss this stuff, these particular items on page 199 and 200, that the total of this is like 153K or something like that. And they have made a representative contribution of reducing everything by 10%. It's still just 153K in terms of the scope of the rest of the budget. So I just want to call attention to that as we try and spend time on organizing this. And it's great that we know where the money's going to, but or if we don't. But it's 153K. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Grant. Michael?
That was substance of one of my thoughts. The accumulated changes are small money. As Grant was saying, off $153,000 as a base, what 10% can't be more than $15,000 or so. However, this is a great year to institute a policy that all commissions should be ready to present to us a recap of their expenditures in whatever degree of fineness they think is fit and appropriate, whether it's in the hundreds or the thousands of dollars, how they spent their money. I think that's something that we should have a look at. But I don't think we should take an additional step of grouping them together under one sort of budgetary organization. That to me sounds like, agreeing that we're going to have a Hunger Games competition for all of these commissions, and they all get to decide who the last survivor is when it comes to budget time. That's all for me.
Annie?
Yeah, so in looking at the document now that Micaiah provided with us, and I'm sorry I didn't look at it sooner, it looks to me like part of the issue here is that we don't know what they're spending in 2026 because they're only halfway through, and a lot of them have not spent much. But if you look at the 2025 numbers, there were like $98,000 in requests, and they spent like 75. I'd like some clarity from somebody on whether or not these committees and commissions are allowed to retain money they don't spend. My understanding is it gets turned back if it's not spent. That was certainly true for Envision Arlington when I was on Envision Arlington. We looked at our budget in May and said, what are we doing? Do we have anybody got any receipts that haven't been paid that we need to spend to pay before June 30th, et cetera, and everything we didn't spend got turned back. So I don't think what the numbers you are seeing there are reserves. I think they're unspent budget from this year. If that is not true, then this is a good year for them to spend their reserves.
So my understanding is that if they don't spend their money in 1 year, it can roll over into the next year. But after 2 years, it goes away.
Okay. Then, my comment stands. This is a good year to spend your reserve if you're asking for budget.
Other thoughts, comments, questions? All right, so I'm hearing from some people that they don't want to approve any committee or commission budget until we have from them a statement of what they do and how they have been or will be spending their money. Is that is that a fair description of what, Sophie, what you've been saying?
At least just last year, what did you get? Where did you spend the money on? What happened to the money you have left over?
Right. I don't have access to SharePoint right now, but does it say on there how much the reserves are? Is that on there?
Yeah.
Or do we need to ask?
No, we know how much money they have.
Okay. So yeah, whatever you're comfortable with, or everybody else is. I was just looking. I hadn't seen this document.
I will. I'm open to a motion that anyone wants to do regarding how we're going to handle these budgets. Al Tosti.
I'm trying to figure out who to dump this on. Alan had said that this is something that we had been toying with, and I'd like to ask him, does he think he could put together a one-pager with all these questions within the next week?
I think we already prototyped that, and I don't know if it's, Christine drafted a prototype, and I beta tested it on my local committee co-chair. And I don't know, Christine, I mean, is that something we want to, pursue?
I think I was a little, maybe more than what we needed, or I can't really remember.
Well,
what was on
Wait,
that.
do you want to share what you drafted up? I mean, not right now, but
I can take a look at it. The only concern I have is time.
Yeah.
Because
I think if we can put together a one-pager comfortable with, send it out, have them send it back. I think we're good to go. I follow up with Grant's provision. This money is peanuts, and not that peanuts aren't important, but also we get tremendous amount of effort from volunteers from these peanuts that are spread among these different committees. It could be the most cost-effective money we spend in getting a lot of things done in this town. So while we certainly should ask these questions that we've mentioned and put it together in one simple form, I don't think it helps to beat up on committee members spending countless unpaid hours serving the town. And as Christine mentioned, we've got we almost got to do 2 budgets this year. I don't think we can afford to spend a lot of extra time on committees that spend $500 or $1,000. But I'd like to propose if we could have, Christine, Allen, a short 1-pager with these questions on it, show it to us on Wednesday. We approve it and send it out. I think we should do that.
And what if we don't get a response? Because some of these committees don't meet regularly, and some people might get the request and don't know what they have spent their money on in the last year because they weren't members. What do we do in that situation?
Well, I mean, I think the controller's office could be a source of that information. These budgets aren't that big. But why don't we take the first step, put together the questions we want, short, simple, sweet. Yes, no, how much? And then if put a note down the bottom, if you don't have the information right away, please contact the controller's office or the town manager's office on finance.
Is that,
But put it on them.
are you making a motion, Alan?
Yes. Even though we really don't have anything to vote on until somebody gets back to us with the questions we want to have answered.
Second.
Well, actually, Alan, you make a good point, and it's a way to avoid a roll call vote, which is we'll just postpone discussion of our committees and commission budgets until we send something out, and then we'll go from there.
Christine, I'd be happy to work with you on that. Maybe we can have a draft for Wednesday
Okay.
night.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Micaiah.
I'm just taking a look in the SharePoint in the spreadsheets, and a lot of the individual spreadsheets have what we're asking of them. So it has a description of what I have the ability to share. I can show you what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them do say what they're intend to spend their money on, don't they?
So each individual committee was asked to provide this spreadsheet. So it's possible that they have already answered these questions just to the deputy town manager.
Yeah, so I'm looking at ATED.
Mm-hmm.
And they've broken down their budget. Yeah, so they've broken down their budget. I can't imagine we're gonna get anything more. The Conservation Commission is explaining why they need a bump in their budget. We have a budget for the Disabilities Commission.
Sounds like a lot of the work's already been done.
Yeah, I think maybe we just haven't looked at all of the things that have already been done, and I'd hate to ask committee chairs to do something they've already done. That's really frustrating. So maybe Micaiah, maybe we could make a new folder in SharePoint called committees and commissions or something, just to make these things easier to find and more put together.
All right, let's postpone this discussion until Wednesday so everyone has an opportunity to look at what Micaiah sent out along with the agenda, because there is some descriptions about what they want their money for. So let's look at that. And maybe we don't need to send out anything, or maybe we just send something out or reach out to certain committees that haven't given us what we are comfortable with. Peggy?
Yeah, hi. There's I agree that it's small money. Oh boy. I'll have to get back to you.
Sure. Scott?
Hi, thanks. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I'm following along because, Micaiah, thank you. You attached all those to an email that you sent out, but I don't have, I think, all the permissions I need for SharePoint. I don't see really anything in there, just like very, very simple things that I have access to. So I just want to flag that if I could maybe get a little tech help, please.
Sure. Maybe you can work with Scott, Micaiah. Peggy?
Sorry about that. So my question had to do with the 10% cut that all these commissions have been asked. And a lot of them are coming back with the same budget that they had in fiscal year 26. So are they just, so do these numbers reflect that 10%?
No, they came up with their budget request. They provided to the deputy manager, and more recently she said it's going to be cut.
Okay.
And she's leaving, as I understand, she's leaving on them to figure out how, with their budget that they presented to her, how they're going to spend that 10% less.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
All right, anything else about committees and commissions? All right, so we will defer this until Wednesday. Between now and then, everyone look at what has been provided in terms of what they have identified as what they intend to spend money on. I do see that the Commission on Arts and Culture did not provide any definitive budget. They just said what they do. So I know, Anna, you've been a liaison with them.
Yep, I'll reach out.
Great, thank you. All right. Are we able to deal with our celebrations and events? That's these are on page 201 of the budget book. Celebrations, display of flags, town day. So everyone see that? Those budgets too have been cut 10%. I don't think that we need any additional information to make a decision on these, but someone tell me if you disagree.
Well, how about I move those four budgets on that page as printed?
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Josh?
I apologize for asking the same question over and over again, but I'm just trying to put this in context because I could basically agree with Al that if I kind of total all these things up, I think it's about $140,000 for all these committees and the celebrations. And so maybe we're saving $14,000 by cutting. But in that $4 million gap for year 3, is that sort of like a 1.5 million gap or 1.25 for year one and another 1 point, it's not all, so we're sort of trying to think about cutting maybe 15 positions or something like that. Just in terms of the context of 14,000 versus whatever the total nut is, I think that would help me to be a little more severe.
I don't think we know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
But isn't it just math? Isn't it just?
It is, Josh, but I don't know if anybody's done the exact math, and I'd hate to tell you that we have to cut $2 million and then discover it's 1.5 or 2.5.
Uh-huh.
But there is some number that has to be cut from this year's budget.
Okay.
That means that there's money not spent in next year's budget. That means there's money we don't need in 29. And
Okay.
that's what I think we're going to find out, at least in part, on Friday morning.
Okay. But we might think just in terms of context for everybody, it's somewhere in excess of $1 million.
Yes.
That this $14,000 would be a piece of that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Charlie?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I, as a follow-up to what Josh was saying, I don't know why we're not just telling the manager and the school department to cut their budgets by some percentage, 3%, 5%, 10%, whatever the number is, and how this rolls forward into the future years is not rocket science. I mean, it automatically happens in that 5-year plan. So, if the manager can make a decision to do that with all these boards and committees, he certainly can make a decision, as the school department could, with respect to the various departments. We're not talking about cutting things by 50% here. We're talking about relatively modest percentage.
All right, what we have before us now, though, is the three budgets on page 201 for celebration and events. It's three budgets, right, Alan? Not because the 250th is zeroed out.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't know if we have to vote the zero out or not. Whatever, the budget's on that page.
Okay. And I believe it was seconded.
Yes, Michael did.
Al Tosti.
Oh, I wasn't sure if it had, excuse me, if we had a motion, that's all. I was gonna make a motion, but
Yeah,
there's
I
one.
moved. As printed.
All right. All right. So any other discussion before we take a vote on celebrations and events? All right, seeing none, I will now take a roll call vote on the motion before us, which is to approve the proposed budgets as set forth on page 201 of the manager's proposed budget, the celebrations, display of flags, and town day. All right, roll call vote, starting with Paul Bear.
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Sophie,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Carolyn is not here, Rebecca,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Al Jones,
Yes.
Topher,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Al Tosti,
Yes,
John,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
All right, unanimous. All right, we got something done there. All right. All right, thank you. All right, do we have some departmental budgets to hear?
Madam Chair,
Yes, David, go ahead.
we can do our own budget. How about the finance budget?
Sounds great.
Okay,
The floor.
that's on page 21.
The only change in this budget is, like the Madam Chair has mentioned, it's a 10% cut in unclassified expenses, and that's $350. So the bottom line on the Finance Committee is $11,475.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Annie?
Just, Dave, there's no money in this budget that's covering our town accounts or anything like that. We just get them, correct?
Right.
Our email addresses and use of SharePoint.
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right.
Most of our expenses go to things like the annual conference that people go to. I don't know what else.
Is the finance report itself, the printed report, do we pay for that, or does that come out of the reports of other committees and stuff?
We pay for it, correct, Micaiah?
Yeah, I said, yeah.
All right, any other questions, comments? Do you have a motion, Dave?
Yes, as presented in the book, for $11,475 for the Finance Committee.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. Paul Beer.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Sophie. We have Sophie here.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Carolyn. Here. Rebecca.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Charlie. Charlie.
Yes.
Chuck.
Yes.
Daryl.
Yes.
Annie.
Yes.
Paul Jones.
Yes.
Topher.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Altosti.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you. Any other budgets, Dave?
Yes, let's try the zoning board budget. That's on page 76 and 77 in the budget book. There's one person's salary, and that's an increase. That's due to longevity, a pay raise, and a step increase. On the advertising, they've been able to cut that by $3,167, and office supplies were cut by $80. One of the things that's coming up, a lot of this documentation that has to be printed in supposedly in our local newspaper, the printing fees are very expensive, but through a legislative act, my understanding is they're now able to print this or put it into the what's called Your Arlington.
Yep.
So that's been a pretty good cost savings as far as the printing goes. So like the clerk's office and selectman's office that have to do printing in newspapers, they're now allowed to do it through online, such as Your Arlington.
Does anyone have any questions for Dave or Sophie? Chuck.
So, sorry, what else is in advertising, Dave? Is it just the newspaper ads, or what else is in there?
Well, in the advertising, in general terms, some of the things it's by law or bylaw that it has to be printed in the local newspaper. Well, we all know the local newspaper is somewhat not read anymore, I guess. So there's been a legislative act passed that allows cities and towns, if they want to use an online service, such as in our case, your Arlington. And some of the printed material would be in the zoning, any type of zoning hearings and anything like that, that there has to be notifications made in a printed form. On the other side, like the clerks would be notifying of town elections. That has to be printed in a newspaper. Notifying about early elections, all that. That's all comes under the advertising and printing.
Okay, so we're still paying $6,000 to some newspaper and or your Arlington.
So
yeah, that figure could change as the year goes by, because they're still in negotiations for other means of communication. So that figure could change, but as it stands now, that is the figure.
Right. Thanks, Dave.
Yanni?
just to clarify, this isn't advertising that's like nice to have. This is required by law, legal notices
Yes.
that have to be
Yeah.
published somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
And
It's on your Arlington. Do we pay your Arlington?
so, full disclosure, I'm the treasurer for your Arlington. The town is in negotiations with your Arlington to transfer legal notices to your Arlington. We have a method that we're instituting technologically to make that easy to do and in the town's control. And then the town will pay us. And I have not been involved in the negotiations about price, but nobody believes it will cost as much as advertising in the Boston Globe, which is basically what we've been doing.
And that's why I mentioned that it's in negotiations.
Any other questions on this budget? Annie, do you have anything else?
No, I'm sorry, I should have taken my hand down.
So I'll make a motion that in the printed book here for 83,818 for the total expenses for the zoning board.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Unless I hear otherwise, I'll start a roll call vote on this. Annie, your disclosure suggests to me that the safest thing would be for you to abstain.
Yep,
from this
I'm
vote.
with you.
All right, so, all right. So we have a motion to approve the zoning board budget. When I call your name, say yes or no or abstain. Paul Bear,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Sophie,
Yes.
Grant,
Okie dokie.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Josh,
Yeah.
Michael,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Annie abstain,
Abstain.
Alan,
Yes.
Jones, Topher,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Altosti,
Yes.
John Griffin,
Yes.
Dean Carmen,
Yes.
David McKenna.
Yes.
Part 18 in the affirmative, 0 negative, 1 abstention. Is that your number?
That is my number.
All right. Dave or anyone else, do you have any budgets for us to?
No, that's it for tonight. Hopefully Wednesday we'll have a few more.
Okay. All right. So tell me what you might have on Wednesday.
Weather permitting, we're looking at the selectmen's budget, legal budget, and the town clerk's budget, which includes the elections and the board of registrars.
Will anyone else have budgets potentially ready on Wednesday?
Potentially, Rebecca and I will have rec and rink. Yes, Rebecca?
Correct.
Do you have anything else, Rebecca? Oh, you took hand up. Okay. All right. Daryl and John, do you have an idea about police or fire? Or
I'm
inspections?
thinking police because we met with them last Friday. I sent out an email the other day asking members to get any questions to me, hopefully by the end of the week. Chief is out until the 3rd. So I'd be aiming for, I think, the 9th or the 12th, 9th or the 11th, whatever that went, one of those 2 days, the 9th or the 11th for police. And John, I don't know where you are on fire.
Yeah, we did meet with fire department already. I will kind of send out a follow-up question to the group here, just asking if you have any additional requests, although consider right now a request for that as well. So I feel like I could probably do it possibly February 4th. So a week from Wednesday or later, February 4th, or the Monday or Wednesday after that. I'd say as early as February 4th if all goes smooth.
All right. Anybody else have potential budgets?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jen. It just depends on what questions you get, and then how quickly the chief can turn around.
Yep. True. Yep. I mean, if all goes well, the February the 4th. I will say generally it's almost a carbon copy of the prior year budget. But of course, we still want to look at it and let me know any questions. As Daryl says, there may be delays getting additional information. But maybe target the 4th.
That'd be great. Anybody have any other budgets that might be ready that first week in February?
We're meeting with the assessors tomorrow. So depending on how that goes, I did put out a call for questions.
So we might have libraries and health and human services a week from Wednesday. Rebecca, any thoughts on that?
I think we should. I think there's a possibility we even have it for Monday, but
I may not be able to be here Monday, so if we could.
I see. Gotcha.
Wednesday, that would be great. Mm-hmm.
We're meeting with the town manager on Wednesday. That will be taking up much of the night. Then I want to deal with our committees and commissions and get some of those done. So we don't have to spend much more time on those. We'll have select board, legal, clerks, and rec and rink, it looks like. It'd be great if we reached all of those. If not, we'll carry those over to Monday. But I really would like to have some budgets ready for February 2nd and February 4th so that we can keep going and get things done. We want to avoid loading up on in March when we have the warrant articles we have to decide and other bigger budgets that take up a big chunk of time. So whatever anyone can do to get some budgets ready for next week would be fabulous.
I'm sorry, I should be able to do inspections on the 4th. I keep forgetting about them.
Okay, great. All right, so looks like our agenda on February 2nd might be a little bit light. Hopefully people might be able to get some things before us. What else? Al Tosti, can I prevail upon you to be our warrant officer? Or will someone, will you be willing to drag the draft warrant out of the select board's office and see what we might need to talk about?
Yes, the warrant closes on Friday. I'm going to give Ashley a call tomorrow and just make sure the FinCom articles are in the warrant and to do my usual request to be able to review the warrant before it's numbered, so it's in the correct, and see if I could hopefully get that by next week, but
That'd
we'll
be
see.
great. That'd be great. And then we'll see whether what, if any, warrant articles we will want to get information about and take a stand on. So that would be good if we can get that behind us, at least on track to get behind us. What else? This is the time of year I always tell people that to remind people to do your conflict of interest training. And when you've completed it, give your copy of your certificate of completion to Micaiah so she can be the repository of those things. Keeping in the spirit of what we heard in the open forum about what people would like more of. They want town meeting members indicated they want more information about finance issues early and often. So take the opportunity to attend any precinct meetings that come up. Even think about organizing precinct meetings so that you have an opportunity to talk about the budget and finance committee report, so that we have done everything we can to educate town meeting. And on that, we have bandied about having a meeting with town meeting members who want to attend to talk about our report before the town meeting begins. If you are interested in organizing something like that, let me know, and we'll see what we can pull together. I think time is going to be we're going to have a time crunch this budget season. As we know, we have a budget sort of in front of us, but it's dependent on the passage of an override, which is going to happen very soon, and we don't even know what the amount is, and we don't know whether it's going to pass or not. And then if it doesn't pass, we're going to have to pivot, and there'll be another different type of report that we'd have to do for town meeting. So we have a lot on our plate right now, and we will continue to have a lot on our plate. But still, if it's possible, it would be in our interest to be able to offer ourselves to town meeting members before town meeting starts to answer questions that they might have. So again, if you're interested in trying to organize something like that, reach out to me and we can talk about it.
On that subject,
yes, Paul.
The subject of outreach to town meeting members, is the budget book on the town website, and should we send a message out to the town meeting email list saying you can find it here if you're interested?
It typically is on the website.
The budget book? No, I don't think so.
How about the manager's message at the beginning of the budget book?
I'd have to look into, I don't know.
Is there anything confidential in it?
There are
Salaries.
employee names,
They're not confidential, they're public.
so it seems like it's a, certainly a public document that someone could do a Freedom of Information Act request for. I definitely think that the town manager's message should be made very readily available to the town meeting members, as that gives such a good summary of the whole budget situation.
I would hope that once the select board decide on the amount of the override, and then there becomes some sort of campaign, that and all other types of information would be made readily available to the public in various forms. I would think that would be front and center to the voters as to why override is needed.
So a related thing is the Zoom links for these meetings going forward. Are they available for the public to watch live instead of having to wait to see a recorded version?
No, they aren't. The Zoom links are only for us. Only frankly, the Zoom links are only for your benefit if you're not attending. And I would like to think that we will use those sparingly, that people will do everything they can to attend in person. The only other way we use those links, I recall at least one or two meetings where whatever group was looking for money could not attend. I think a disability commission was one example where it was difficult for them to be in attendance, but they wanted to talk to us and we wanted to talk to them, so we made that accommodation.
And sometimes it was members. Some members could attend and some couldn't.
But again, members who can't attend, they don't make a quorum and they don't make.
No. I meant committee members who were presenting to us. Sometimes there would be people in the room and committee members.
Yeah.
Remote.
Yeah.
So if we want to do outreach, we should tell our town meeting members that they should come in person to any FinCom meeting they're interested in.
They could if they understand that they can't talk or ask questions.
Right. Yeah.
What we do have is the recordings are available, right? Okay. Yeah. The recordings are available and the minutes are available pretty quickly, too, comparatively.
Okay, thank you.
Charlie?
Thank you. I believe in the announcement, the minutes that were posted on today's meeting, it said that that the materials that are available to the Finance Committee would be available to the public at the meeting. And if that's the case, then the manager's budget book should be available to the public.
Well, the manager's budget book was not attached to our agenda, right, Micaiah? It was sent separately.
Correct. And it's also not posted on the on the website as well. Not yet.
It never is.
So if people come to an open meeting and we're dealing with the public with a budget, they can't see the budget documents.
We project them, they can see them on the screen.
We also, if we are making recommended changes to them, we project those too. And those are actually included in the agenda, right, Micaiah? If for example, Chuck wanted to have he was gonna discuss a budget, his budget with a different number for different reasons, that would be included with the agenda, assuming he got to you early enough. It would be included in the agenda materials that would be sent around and posted, right?
We haven't posted the agenda package to the public in a couple of years.
So we've done the minutes,
But
right?
the minutes, yeah, the minutes will have all of the projected materials. And those will get posted a day later.
So the information is public.
So-
I'm confused as to why the manager's budget book doesn't just go up on the website for town meeting members to peruse at their convenience.
Another question for him for Wednesday night.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you can, in the past, before we had all this electronic stuff, I could walk into the town manager's office and request a copy of the budget book and pay for it. And I did that for many years. I mean, I did it until I was on the select board and got it for free. But I don't believe they've ever posted it on the budget in the financial and budget information page. The final budget is posted, and the town manager's budget message that includes a lot of interesting information about the departments is there, but they've never posted the budget book. And I think part of that is because it's a draft until we vote it. But it is available to the public if they ask for it. So I don't think there's anything to prevent us from sharing it. There's just no link to point to on the town's website.
Annie, when you were on the
I'm just-
select board, Annie, did the select board make, certainly the select board received that report, just like we've received that report, and what did the select board do with it?
Not much. We trusted the town manager to balance it and the finance committee to go over it with a fine tooth comb.
Did you make it part of your minutes or anything like that?
I don't remember. I don't think we rarely had a meeting where we actually discussed the budget other than to say we'd received it. And I don't believe that the document was just something that was provided to us in our packet. So we always had it, but we didn't, we didn't hold a budget hearing. We've never held a budget hearing. Does that make sense? The way the school committee does.
Yeah.
The budget hearings are us, the finance committee. That's why I always say that I moved up when I got on the finance committee. Nobody's laughing.
Okay, well, it's just my only thought is if you're trying to be transparent with the town meeting members,
Yeah,
this is a public document that should be made available to them. Thank you.
We could ask Greg to do something about that. Greg Christiana.
Al Tosti?
Yeah, I think the budget book that the manager gives to the FinCom and the selectmen has always been considered a working document, a draft, and that where people were working on changing, so it was never considered a public document. Now, whether that's how the town council would rule it now, I don't know. But the book, obviously, the finance committee report is what the town meeting votes on. So that's a public document. But I think that's the logic that's been used in the past, why the whole book itself has not been published.
But it was always available to any citizen who wanted to go to the library and look at it or wanted to go into town manager's office and get a copy.
Yep.
Because I did it over and over.
And as Al says, that what we have before us changes. We make changes, and also the town manager and the deputy are getting in touch with us and saying, no, that numbers were now wrong. That we know, and Ida will come to us and say, nope, that number is incorrect. So we need to, so it's a snapshot, but that's pretty much what it is. It's an informative snapshot, but it does change. Anything else that people want to bring up tonight? So we are meeting on Wednesday. The plans to meet in the Lions hearing room on the second floor of Town Hall Wednesday. We'll figure out where we're gonna meet next week. My preference is to meet in the police department just because the room is better. But there may be some parking issues. We still might meet in the police department police station next week. And if we do, people should just plan to leave a little bit early to make sure you can find parking, which I understand from Daryl is problematic, at least right now. So we're meeting town hall on Wednesday, where we'll start with a meeting with the town manager. And then we will go through what budgets we have. And hopefully we'll have some budgets we can deal with on Monday. It sounds like we have several lined up for that Wednesday, but hopefully we'll have some on Monday. And the other thing we'll do on Wednesday is committees and commissions. So please look at what was shared with this today's agenda in terms of what we got from Julie Wayner. All right, anything else? All right, as chair, I am declaring the meeting adjourned unless I see anyone who would not want to adjourn and has something to say. Not seeing anyone raising their hands, I hereby declare this meeting is adjourned and no roll call vote will be taken about that. All right.